stops. We're kind of there on the other side, but it nowhere nearly balances out. So what we're looking to do is balance out that equation. And I think, that's kind of what I think. What do you think?
Okay, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. The next point that I wrote down kind of lead into that is we need to understand who the people we want to engage in our movement. I mean, I know right off the bat we want everybody to engage in our movement. I
Right.
understand that. I understand that.
No, you make an excellent point because we're going to have false flaggers out the ass.
Yeah, we're gonna have people. I'm gonna tell you right now, and I told you when we started this endeavor that I'm a straight shooter. I'm gonna tell you right off the bat. There's gonna be some people that's gonna say Richard Romine is crazy as hell. There's gonna be some people that's gonna say Johnny Hill has lost his goddamn marbles. Excuse my language, Lord. There's gonna be people like that, Rich. I
Sure,
know. I know that for a
of
fact.
course. Well, we've run into them, right?
Constantly and
Yeah.
constantly. But that I've made some more points about that later. We'll get down into that, but I think it's important, just from what I've learned from the House of Public Discourse, is that I knew that you can't serve all the masters. You
No,
can't.
you cannot.
And I feel like, especially in the short term, for our growth, we're going to need to engage with people who are engaging with us.
Okay, that's a very good point.
Okay.
See, that's the other reason why I say it's a code of agreement because the people who come with us have to agree to it,
Right.
and that will take out a lot of people, admittedly.
Right.
But but that's the one thing that holds us together is agreement that we're agreed that we want these things, and we'll get a lot more people than you think that way.
I'm so excited about it, Rich. I think we must be purpose driven, you know, and benefit driven. I mean, we want Medicare for all, and the reason we want Medicare for all is because America needs it. You know,
Yeah, we absolutely agree with that.
you know what I mean by purpose. We
Yeah,
got
agreed.
yeah. And let's see. Okay, we must take a stand for something and against something. For example, we take a stand for a pathway to citizenship, and we take a stand against locking kids up in cages underneath a freeway. You know, that's
Yeah.
an example.
Yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure I'm on the same page with you. You
Well,
know.
there is one thing about this last point you made. I totally agree with you that we do. But when you're talking about in terms of the simple principles, the truth, logic, all those things
Right.
cover that. It's not truthful that you want to do this because you're. Why do you want to do this? Because you're an asshole. If they're lying about it, then it automatically discounts it. If
Right.
it's not logical, it automatically discounts it. If it's not ethical, which is definitely none of this is ethical, it automatically discounts it. And I think that's why the four principles are very, very simple.
Right. And those are going to be some of the first lessons that we go over. Correct.
Okay, correct.
Okay. Correct. Yeah. Okay.
But we are against all of those things based on those four principles, because truthfully, putting kids underneath an overpass or whatever in cages is wrong. Okay, logically, it's wrong. Ethically, it's horrible. And if you have any honesty of your intent, then you don't want to do it, period.
Right.
Your intent is something else.
Correct.
So you've got about four parts of it, they've already lost it. They lost it on truth. But with all the other parts, those kind of things killed each other on this. They will be like having four, you ever see those bungee traps
Yeah.
where they have the bamboo sticks in the hole?
Yeah.
It's like that. They stick their foot in there and they get impaled on them. That's the idea behind it. That you can always discount what is wrong, by using those four principles. And they're very simple and everybody understands them. There's no ands, ifs, or buts.
Okay, and now I got a couple of quick points here, and we're
Okay.
already doing this. And my verbiage that I use, you may disagree with, but I want to create a monster. Uh, and,
I
and
agree.
and what I mean, you know what I mean by that.
Yeah.
I want to create insightful. I want to create content that insightfully invokes discussion.
Yes. Excellent.
And we already are doing this.
Yes.
Being you both are already doing this. We're creating content that people share.
Yes. No, you're quite. I like that.
Yeah. I mean, basically, we got to stir some souls out there.
Yep. Well, it before it wasn't easy to see black and white because there was so much gray before Donald Trump. Donald Trump gave us one thing: it's black and white. It's really taken the gray out of things. And this is that time when you can't gray things out like you could
Yeah,
because we've seen
yeah,
what black is.
yeah. I
We've
call it
seen it.
a spotlight moment we're in right now.
I agree totally. And your point's well taken. I'm just reinforcing it. I agree with you
Right.
totally.
Yeah, and then you touched on this, and I want to elaborate a little further. This is something when I was coming up with this for our meeting, I got to thinking about this. We want to influence the influencers. I noticed you mentioned reaching out to Bernie Sanders. Well,
Yes.
I was thinking I did a little research 2 years ago. I was helping out some people with some political campaigning. I have a database of and it's up to date. It gets up to date all the time of politicians from every level of government across the country running for office, or who has run for office, or who may be running for office. And I think at some point we need to put together a mail out or a email program, or some kind of promotion to these politicians, because the more that we can get to, you know, give us a look see, the more credibility we get.
I agree. And I think the letter is the way to go. They don't even open the emails,
Right.
but the letters they do read from what I understand.
Well, finding if we can find that marriage right there, because that is an ever seeking social media, or not, or marketing. What do they open? What's the best method?
Right.
Of doing it. Okay. Always we're going to be in a fluid situation, and this is what I'm seeing from what I've talked to you so far. We're going to be creating parallels with foundation movement and what's going on in the real world, and we got to always have it ready, a system for a call of action.
Yes, you're right on.
Okay. And I'm almost done here, sir. But we got to be you're provocative. Rich, you're provocative. You're
Yeah.
provocative whether you mean to be or not.
Yes. But
Uh,
if
what
you're going to change the world, you have to be provocative a bit.
we got to be. I'm so glad to hear you say that, because I was worried about that a little bit. I'm a provocative person, sir.
I noticed. I agree with you though. I think it's something we have to do. I will stipulate this. I think we need to stay always within the law.
Right?
Always.
Oh, yeah.
And
Oh,
we always have to stay within the principles.
I'm at a point, Rich. I was a young, wild, rambunctious young man. I made some mistakes earlier in my life, some bad decisions that really only hurt me, nobody else, to be honest with you. But I'm at a point. I'm 60 years old. I want to be. I want to do the right thing. I want to make a difference. When I die and they put me 6 feet under, they will say, "Oh, well, that dude might have started out life pretty on the wrong side, but he sure did end up the race of life pretty well."
That's all you can ask.
Yeah. So that's where I'm at, and we got to be provocative, because
And you're a whippersnapper, aren't you?
I am.
60, 60. I'm 71 almost.
Shoot.
I'm a major old fart.
Yeah, no, I hope I'm half as in good a shape as you're in, but we got and I say this humbly. I've learned this. I think you have this. I think the House of Public Discourse family has this. My family of people. We have the ability to unify people. I think we can do it.
Yes, I agree.
Like you say, it's not going to be overnight easy. I mean,
It will be extremely difficult, and we probably won't see it how happen,
that's right.
if any, if
That's
any
right.
of it. You know,
That
it's going to be tough.
that's right. And that's why I think we got to stay constantly in operational planning. We got to be able to. The only thing permanent in life is change, Mister.
This is true. And by the way, why do if it's not almost impossible, why bother? You know,
Yeah,
it's my theory of things.
yeah. And then of course we're always promoting nonviolent discipline, uh,
Absolutely.
which is the ability of our members and resistors to remain nonviolent despite provocation, because we're going to be provocated.
Well, there's one caveat I would put in there. I
Okay.
think within the foundations itself, foundations security is one of the most important and one of the very first ones that we'd put together.
Okay.
Not so much for the movement itself, but for the foundations. And I'm hoping you'll consider that too. The idea behind it is that you you can't you have to be able to defend yourself. That's the thing in society. If you can't, then you're done because sooner or later someone's going to do something nasty.
Right.
And that is what the rich cons have. They can defend themselves. So in the terms of security service, just like they have, terms of attorneys, just like they have, that you give those resources to the people of the membership. And by having those resources, you have all the things the rich people have. You may not have their money, but you have the things that count.
Right.
Security, attorneys, they're not going to be able to just run you down. And no matter what happens, you will get defended one way or the other. I think that's really important. But yeah, you're right. I totally agree with nonviolence. But there's a point where if someone attacks you, you have a business, and they're coming after you, you have to be able to defend your business and
Right.
yourself
Right.
and your family and your home.
Absolutely. My last point here that I want to make
Okay.
is one of the authoritarian's most powerful tools is the capacity to commit repression, and effective movements learn how to reduce the impact of repression while increasing its cost. What I'm meaning is
Oh,
what what I
perfect.
what I mean is we're gonna make them people gonna have to work to shut us up.
I think that's just exactly what I said a minute ago, except said much better. That's exactly right.
Right, right,
That's exactly right. Because
yeah,
the bottom line of it all, if you let them just do it, I saw the other day, which I thought was really perfect. I forget what it was. I think it was on MSNBC, but I'd seen it in other places too. That authoritarianism isn't necessarily people being nasty to other people. It's making laws to give advantage to others,
right,
or give advantage to themselves.
right,
And that's where the lawyers, that's where the conservative law firms have been so effective. And so you need to be able to, there is nothing on the other side. There's nothing there. And I think one day, hopefully, we can put something there that is effective, but effective for the membership and effective for the country. And the security part, I think, is extremely important because if you're hung out there by yourself, it's hard. If you're afraid to go home, someone's going to break in your house and kill you. That's hard. But if you have support, then it's not so hard. And I
right.
think that's the idea of what a foundationist could do.
I
I'm
think
sorry.
that's good. I think that's going to happen naturally. That
Yes.
of the core members of the people that are really get involved with this. We're not trying to change the world. We're trying to change the way the world. I don't know. I'm trying to come up with the right. I haven't read all your writings. I'm just now starting to get. Oh, those chronicles. I need those chronicles. That. That
Okay.
that when you get a chance, no rush.
I
Now,
will get it to you.
now,
That's the ones that'll keep you up at night.
yeah. Well, here's what I've got for. Well, this is what I can bring to the table as far as
Okay.
the House of Public Discourse. I've got, of course, my 5,000 members. I got 5,000 friends on Facebook.
That's
I,
really good.
I've got 337 followers there. Then I got a House of Public Discourse business page, which was at one time getting 65,000 engagements a week.
Wow.
Which they censored me and shut me down, and now we're down. We're about 15,000 a week now,
Okay.
but we got 3,000 followers on that page.
What do you market with that, or do you market anything?
Okay, wait. I earned every last single one. I have never spent a dime on Facebook. Never a dime. I've not ever spent one single penny.
Okay.
I I earned every single one of those likes by posting constantly every day. I mean, for about 2 or 3 years there, I was posting all day long.
Okay.
A lot of content, and next thing I know, I started getting people liking my page, liking my page. Next thing I know, I got 100. And next thing I know, I got 500. Next thing I know, I got 3,000.
Right.
Then on the group, the House of Public Discourse Forum group, we're growing we're growing leaps and bounds in that group. I've never been one to say, "Hey, you go invite all your friends." I didn't want that. I could have had 40,000 people in that group, Rich, but I didn't want that.
Right. I don't blame you.
So
I'm very picky who I friend too. I'm very
right, and I don't want that to be. I mean, there's enough debate groups out there for people to go debate all they want to.
Yeah.
I want this to be a place where we find solutions, and that's why I'm loving what me and you are talking about doing here.
Okay.
And then what I've got in addition to that, I'm a member of about 400 Facebook groups altogether, about
Wow.
400. And then I have a lady back 2 years ago. I don't even know if she's on my friends list anymore, but she made me admin of all these pages called the Penn Independent Group.
Oh yeah, I've heard of them.
They're all
Hey,
over.
come here, dog.
They're
Sorry, my
all,
black lab is being a pain in the ass.
they're all over. They're all over in every state. There's 50 of them, and I'm a admin on just about every one of those pages, so I can promote directly to those pages. And I haven't really posted a lot there, Rich, because I was noticing that a lot of people post false information on those sites.
Right.
And we're in enough trouble. I try to stay away from that now.
No, I'm with you. I do too. I've had enough problems with Facebook. They
Yeah,
don't like me. I think they must like me a little.
yeah. I don't think they dislike you. I think I know what my problem was. Is I had a couple of people that didn't like me, and they would always report me and all kinds of stuff like that. But
I've had that happen.
I can tell you right now, Rich, you may have a different experience than I have, but I have ran into some of like yourself, some of the nicest, most wonderful people that I've ever met in my whole life. But I have
Yeah.
run into some real,
Foundation movement. The
really
beginning.
terrible.
We ask you to consider joining a great evolution. Help us to make our democracy fully functional. To go beyond the political parties and to see an American solution, not a Republican or a Democratic one. Not to create a new party, but to build a human-centric nation. When what matters is what you do as a human being, not who you are, who your parents are, or what color your skin is. Political parties, however, can only achieve that by gaining power within a monopolistic political system, since they are just private clubs. The Foundations movement is the structure from which we drive change, an American evolution. Democracy itself is not the problem, but both parties are to blame. We owe it to the founders, their constitution and the founding documents, to make the necessary changes. We ask you to join us on a journey to a place we have only imagined. This is not a journey to some new policy or law but one to the stars. We shall continue this journey, but we shall also be the beginning of it. We seek to build something wonderful. We are the builders of a society that will last and not destroy itself. To give what we can to the future and be the guardians of that futurity, the builders of starships and man. We may not be smarter or better than other people, but we are those who look into the future to see what we can build. We are choosing to build our humanity while building structures that will enhance the genius within all of us in contrast to the idiot. The Foundations movement is based on peer network architecture. It was the way the internet began. Some of you may remember shareware. People would take what others would build and add their talents to it. We had the internet until Google and its friends messed it up for profit. We do not have the money to buy things and people, nor should we. We don't own television or radio stations. But we own ourselves. We must preserve the basic principles, not change them. Truth, logic, ethics, and honesty must remain forever the same, otherwise, our work will be assumed as has happened to so much in our society and turned against us. We ask you today to join the Foundations movement. This is the time to not be afraid of each other. Let's see straight through the lies and myth of those we call the cons, their private propaganda machine, and their hidden agenda. We shall begin by organizing. We shall be leaderless, which makes it difficult for the cons to target us. Our starting point will be a code of agreement. We agree to reach a set of simple and easily understood goals to accomplish a real and lasting change, outside of the existing political structure. There is no easy or quick way out of the trap we are in, but there is a way out together. We have lost the present, but we shall win the future. Our path can be hard for it is full of possible failure and tragedy, but it is one we must walk so our children and theirs have a future. Where people can discover and live into the potential they were born with, as with our society. We were born as a nation, as a society, with great potential. Isn't it time we live up to that? This must be the time when we cease to celebrate past failures and find the potential in all of us. Instead of building in failure, as the current system does. We begin today by reaching to the stars, not stopping at the moon. The Foundations ask you to search your souls and share your abilities to make the world better. We are more than we were, but not yet what we will be.